And now I would like to introduce our host, Gene Kozub, who is the Vice President and General Manager of HP's U.S. Personal Systems and Services. Gene, over to you.
Thank you, Abby, and good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's joining us today. On behalf of everyone at HP, I'd like to thank you for spending time with us, and I hope that you and your families are safe and healthy. I'm very excited to spend some time with you virtually, and like most of you, this has become our new normal at HP. We've had to work really hard to traverse the new landscape and make this work effectively. And today, we're going to share with you some HP experts in collaboration. We're eager to talk with you about the new normal in collaboration, both in the office and for remote workers. We'll address managing mixed workplace environments, the cultural acceptance for remote work business continuity, and enabling collaboration spaces in the office, and a whole lot more. Now, the plan is our discussion leaders are going to kick us off with a few slides, and then we'll open up the Q&A, giving you the opportunity to ask our discussion leaders questions. So to get started, I'd like to introduce you to our discussion leaders. Kurt Gotkin is our global head of the commercial products and strategy. Martin Schwartz is our collaboration and conferencing expert. And Louis Berlanga is our collaboration evangelist. So Kirk, why don't I turn it over to you?
Hey, thanks, Gene. You know, it's really interesting. We always use this phrase, the new norm, right? So what actually will be, what exactly is the new norm? And I thought a lot about that, and again, a lot of the insights that we're collecting from our customers and listening to them specifically. And really, that new norm is a lot of different things. It's absolutely that we've seen a 667% increase in phishing attacks related to COVID-19. And what's that requiring? That's requiring, each one of us, to really increase our VPN security, increase multi-factor authentication, and really start implementing, AI solutions to predict and actually block malware. Working from home is very different than working at home. Working from home is really a primary work location. Working from home means we're working in different places. In fact, I'll tell you, 46% of folks that work from home work in a dedicated home workspace. 14% people work in the bedroom. 6% work in the kitchen. This is their primary workspace. 6% is in the kitchen. 2% is actually out on the patio. That's their primary workspace. 32%, their primary workspace when they work from home, is in the living room and the dining room. And so again, what is the new norm? The new norm absolutely is get off the Wi-Fi, right? I'm doing a presentation. Those are all is kind of like the new norm. It's really affecting the way that we work. And so when you go to the next slide, you think about, how has our work changed? What has been this transformation that has been occurring? And it's really been a massive change for all of us. And what it requires each one of us, you as a customer, to evaluate the needs of your users at home. This rapid transformation of the traditional, even for the most progressive corporate environments, really pulls not only technology evolution, but really stretches each one of us into what our comfort zone is. It really challenges us to balance our personal relationships while maintaining our top productive efforts on the work front. And so we have to really develop this way of working together. Consider how we balance our work and personal lives, often in the same place. Like I mentioned, from the same kitchen table, we're prioritizing our business and our personal lives. So how do we make the new workplace, right, alleviate really the strain that puts on us from a security standpoint because of the increased attacks on our Wi-Fi networks, or added emphasis on our work styles because of all of our remote teams and how they're dispersed. Getting connected is one thing, but building a connection is completely different. And so, as a company, HP is absolutely pivoting to address these issues as folks work from home. The office is absolutely new again. So how can we enable you and your users to be at their best? And so when you go to the next slide, we think a lot about that. And so within that, organizations, you as customers and ourselves, even at HP, have really, discovered that telecommuting and virtual meetings absolutely work. And so, this pandemic has really accelerated the adoption of cloud connectivity, right? Cloud solutions, connectivity technologies, and absolutely collaboration. In 2021, right, we expect that over half of the workforce will be working the majority of the time from home, not at home, but from home. In fact, I would say virtual meetings and technology solutions like Zoom, Teams, Skype, and WebEx, right, have really taken hold across all of our language and how we use it across all of everybody inside the home. In fact, I like to joke, Zoom is being used so much these days that it's actually become a name that parents are naming their newborns. Here, welcome Zoom into the world. And so, in fact, I'll even tell you, even cameras, right? People actually turning on their cameras has increased as work from home employees look for human connection. And so within that, I'm going to turn it over to, well, first of all, I want to do a poll, right? Let's do a poll. And in fact, let's do a couple of polls, right? So as you bring up the polls, I want you to think about, how folks, kind of take this in and kind of respond to them and think about, what has, where do you anticipate the substantial portion of your workforce will be returning and back into the office? In the summertime, in the fall, winter, is it still unknown, right? So, the votes are coming in, but think about that, right? Where are you working at today and how absolutely has that changed, right? So as we kind of, look at the results coming in, I'm going to turn it over to Martin, and Martin's going to talk about, well, Kirk, you talked about work from home. You talked about the new norm. What's going to happen when we go back to the office?
Yeah, thanks, Kirk. In fact, most people are responding. It's some distribution between the fall, winter, or don't know when you're going to be able to go back in the office. Well, one thing's for sure, as Kirk mentioned, there's going to be fewer folks in the office. There's going to be a need for separating the folks. There's going to be different practices that are going to be implemented when we come back to the office. You might have different shifts or different phases of bringing your employees back. I know here at HP, we have different phases we're planning. The first phase has been more business continuity personnel and IT personnel, et cetera. Next phase is additional resources. Some folks are being asked voluntarily or being asked to work permanently from home. So when you get back to the office, there's going to be fewer folks. And you're going to have to determine things like when to come into the building, maybe determining different start times for different resources so you can do your temperature readings, make sure everyone's got their mask, make sure you can get through the hallways appropriately, through the walkways. Maybe you have directional environments. Some aisleways you'll go one way, some escalators and elevators won't be used. You might have to use different facilities or stairs, etc.
Lots of cleaning. There's just, there's some of those.
I think Lewis is trying to pipe in, talking about house cleaning. Go ahead, Lewis.
Yeah, just the sanitization of spaces and making sure that we're having to care and feed for those kinds of things. Most of the time, we don't even think about that pre-COVID. Now, that's going to be a real big issue. Is how quickly can we clean? How quickly can we get places ready for people to come in? And then how quickly can we refresh them for other people to come in?
Yep, and as well as the conference rooms themselves. I mean, conference rooms that held 20 people, you probably are going to reduce and increase your social distancing requirements in those rooms, in all your rooms. And for face-to-face meetings, instead of a 20-person room, you might only have 8 to 10 people. In a medium-sized room, instead of having maybe 12 people, you might only have 4 to 5. In your smaller rooms, you might have to limit it to just 1 or 2 folks. And that produces different challenges as well. How are you going to schedule your meetings of who's going to join face-to-face, who you're going to invite into the room, because we still want that face-to-face communication and capability, but who are you going to leave at the desk? And it's going to introduce inviting people from their desk to join your meeting, or for those folks that we just talked about that are going to be remaining at home. So you have this new dynamic of face-to-face users, adding work at desk users, stay at your desk users, as well as remote users or mobile users, and connecting all those people together in what we all have become very accustomed to in video conferencing and video collaboration. So that's going to cause additional protocols and scenarios of how to adjust your facilities plans and your scheduling plans as well.
Hey, so Martin, I mean, I hear a lot of challenges, absolutely, right?
Yep.
And so it's, I think about, so where do customers get started? It's like, what's the first thing they should be thinking about doing? Because there's so many things they could be doing when folks come back to the office.
Yeah, you bet. In fact, what we're hearing from a lot of IT decision makers, facilities, HR personnel, et cetera, a lot of organizations, they're taking this time now. They're building out their plans. Some of them have started executing their plans on phasing in people, but they're building their plans of, okay, how are we going to address connecting our people together? And quite frankly, many conference rooms are not equipped to be able to handle remote communication. So they're determining, okay, do we need to add audio capabilities? Do we need to add video capabilities? Kirk, you mentioned that video's skyrocketed. The use of video has skyrocketed by at least double throughout the world. And so that's going to be the accepted norm, is that we can see people when we're meeting with them. Well, many conference rooms aren't equipped with video or aren't equipped with the room systems to be able to connect their desktop and their remote workers together. The bandwidth concerns and bandwidth considerations are going to need to be taken into effect as well as you add these capabilities to your room, and being able to license that technology and get the right software and the equipment into those rooms to be able to effectively have this type of collaboration session is going to be key. In fact, many organizations right now are starting to do that planning while these rooms aren't being used, or as they're continuing to be phased in. Now is the perfect time to start thinking about that, considering it, adjusting your budgets, prioritizing your budgets to allow for this type of communication capability within your rooms.
Yeah, that was a big surprise when we had customers calling in saying, hey, we need to figure out what's the best way for us to retrofit our environments, because we're going to have folks moving back in, especially a lot of the early adopters that were going into the office sooner rather than later. They're getting ready to prepare for that next surge.
You bet. In fact, we've got another poll question we'd like to ask the audience. Can you go ahead and bring up the next poll? Yeah, we'd like to get your feedback. What percentage of folks do you think are going to work permanently from home in your organization? Because I know a Gartner study was done fairly recently, a few months ago, and it was anticipated 3/4 of the companies polled said that about 5 to 20% would be working permanently from home. Yeah, the results are starting to come in, and it looks like over 30% is gaining the most votes here. So many of you are anticipating what we're anticipating, that this new norm will be a lot of workers will be working permanently from their own workspace.
It's a lot of different people in different ways trying to connect to different environments that aren't traditional ways of the old, the corporate boardroom, right? That's no longer the only way we can connect, and we got to really figure those places out.
You bet. Well, HP's, we've got personas for the compute users, and you may have heard presentations from HP in the past. Well, we've also got personas for rooms. And we've selected just a subset of the personas that HP has solutions for and experiences that we solve for. These are primarily the personas from a collaboration and conferencing perspective. I'm going to briefly go through each one of these and just explain the key workflows and the key experiences for each. In the focus room, this is typically rooms that are capable of handling 1 or 2 people. And there's a couple business cases or use cases for these focus rooms. One of the typical ones is where you bring your laptop or your notebook into the room, and you want to have a larger display, you want to have a full-size keyboard and a mouse, and a system equipped to perhaps do video and audio built into the system. And so you might have a docking monitor, or you might have a docking station with these peripherals where you jack in with one cable, a USB-C cable, and you're immediately able to start collaborating using the files off your notebook device and start a session in a private, enclosed room. Typically, these rooms are non-scheduled, and you can just walk in and use them. The second use case for a focus room is where you just walk in with yourself without any device, and you have an all-in-one device. And that might be pre-configured to be able to go into a team session or into a Zoom session. And it has, again, the larger display, it has a camera, microphone, speaker, all built in with the peripherals accordingly. And you grab your content from your cloud service. So those are the two use cases typically done in a focus room. An open huddle space is an ad hoc area, typically an ad hoc area. In fact, all of us have likely moved to open space environments in our offices, and here we got COVID that hit. And now we got to space people 6 feet apart in our open spaces. But open huddle spaces will likely still be used. The typical use case here for open huddle spaces, you want to come in with a few folks, have a quick scrum meeting, quick status meeting, a quick staff meeting, maybe collaborate on a specific agenda, and be able to share content to a front of room screen. And you want to do that wirelessly typically. And we have solutions that allow you to do this wireless sharing capability in these spaces.
You know, Martin, this space and the huddle space that we're talking about now are the places where most of our millennials and Gen Z knowledge workers want to be. Someplace where they can quickly get into a space, sit down, have a quick meeting, have a quick call, and then move on to whatever it is they're doing. For them, so much of what they're trying to do is work is where they are, not where they go.
Exactly.
And I think, yeah, Lewis, you said a magic word that resonated with me is quick, right? The idea that I have a 30-minute meeting, I need to jump into a huddle space or a focus area, and it can't take me 5 or 10 minutes to get into that meeting, right? It has to be quick.
Yeah, simple,
in fact,
and versatile.
When you come into your huddle or meeting space, the first use case that you want is the meeting's been scheduled. Perhaps you've used your Outlook calendar. You come in the meeting room. There's your meeting on the display. You click on one button to join, and you're instantly in the meeting. The cameras turn on, your microphone speakers are activated, you have your content available, and you're immediately starting. There's no fussing with cables, wiring, conference codes, passcodes, etc. You're in the meeting instantly.
Those miserable remotes that we had to use in the past.
Yeah, that's all passé. Now it's one-touch join. That's the big feature. And these systems that we offer include all the audio components. You get 360-degree audio capability. You're able to see the participants on the front of room screen. You can see the content and the participants as well. Typically, there's a camera equipped, so again, they can see you. Again, to create this type of engagement and create a better engagement with the people on the other side. In a medium-sized room, same capabilities. You want to be able to one-touch join, but you might want to add a second display up front, one to be able to show the remote participants and one to be able to show content. And then also, the audio components would be improved to be able to handle a room size of up to about 12 people, so people can hear you with far-field microphones and noise cancellation microphones. And then also you may want to add a whiteboard, a dry erase whiteboard, and be able to share content with your remote users from that whiteboard through a content sharing capability through your Teams or your Zoom app. And then finally, in a large room, similar to a medium room, but you would add the capability for better audio. Typically, you would add microphones either onto the table in a daisy chain type of fashion, or possibly even go with ceiling microphones and ceiling speakers, as well as have better speakers at the front of the room to be able to get a more dynamic response and be able to support that. So all these use cases, we can kind of summarize in these type of experiences. You know, the typical experiences are one-touch join when you come into a meeting, audio obviously so you can be heard and can hear others in the room. Video is key in these rooms. Like I mentioned, most conference rooms, most huddle spaces are not today equipped with video. So something to consider as you're preparing your plans for people coming back in the office. Sharing content obviously is key. through either a wired connection where you come in with your laptop and jack in with a wire, or better yet, in fact, better sanitization, be able to join wirelessly so you don't have to touch the cable or sanitize that cable after each use. So that'd be a better way to be able to share content in these rooms. Of course, using these systems as phone systems is key. Both Zoom and Teams have that capability, being able to do ad hoc meetings. In fact, one really neat feature that Microsoft's got is called Proximity Join. If you're on your laptop or you have your tablet or phone with you and you have the Teams app running, you can actually, without having to touch the conference room system touchpad, you can actually start your meeting and join the meeting room and have the meeting room activate from your device, from your laptop, tablet, or smartphone device using the Teams app. It's a great way to, again, deal with any kind of sanitization issues and less touching of the components in the room.
You know, Martin, that's a question that's in the chat now about, you know, what are some of the things that we can do when organizations do need to take that time and effort to sanitize the environment? You know, a lot of times there are some organizations that will leave it to the user, but how can they make sure some services are going to be out there? I think when we start talking about conference rooms as a service, as a way to make sure you schedule and then schedule in that cleaning time to make sure you can go back in there, clean it, and it's ready to use. It's really going to put a hamper on users that want to be more ad hoc and nimble. But I think we have to consider that because, you know, the alternatives could be a little bit more of a detriment.
Yep, absolutely. Also, we've already talked about one of the use cases of being able to share your whiteboard. There's capabilities to do that, to be able to actually adjust a camera, to be able to point at the whiteboard and be able to share whatever's being written on the whiteboard. So your remote users, again, feel more connected into the meeting without actually having to be there in person. And then you can also use your system for webcasting, just like what we're doing now. And that's all possible. And you can record it, even transcribe and translate the content afterwards. Now, HP has various solutions that support these room systems. For the small huddle space, small rooms, medium-sized rooms, large conference rooms, even custom rooms, we have our Elite Slice G2 portfolio. And we support both these devices in either a Microsoft Teams room environment or a Zoom rooms environment. And we have two principal models. One unit is equipped with a touch screen and has all the audio components built into it. This is kind of our all-in-one conference room system. All you need to do is add a camera, hook it to your front of room display, and you're all set. You provision it with your Teams or Zoom license, and you're off and running. That unit has 4 speakers built into it, 4 microphones built into it. It's designed to basically replace the speakerphone in the center of room table. And this unit is principally targeted for small and medium-sized rooms and has the audio capabilities that handle up to rooms, up to 12 people room sizes. We also have another model called the Audio Ready, the Elite Slice G2 Audio Ready unit. Same thing, it's got a touch panel, which is where you have all your scheduled meetings and your controls, and it's attached to a device that gets installed underneath the table. We actually have a 5-meter cable that goes with it where you can actually take the endpoint device, the compute device, and mount it behind the TV screen, the front of room TV screen. So this is for environments where you have third-party audio peripherals, audio video peripherals that you can attach it to, and it can support any size room, quite frankly. Both units, go ahead.
That right there, Martin, I think is the most important piece of one of the big reasons of why HP is that when you get into larger organizations and you have different type workspaces, the workflow of what the room looks like and how it feels and how it works for the end user is consistent. All that is the same every time, no matter if they're in a large corporate boardroom or they're in one of the huddle spaces. The motion of getting a meeting going and getting onto a call is critical for simplicity. The other thing is we have to remember that most of the people that are going to be using these devices are not technologists. They're HR, they're accounts payable. Those are the people that are doing the work on a day-to-day basis, and they don't have the time or the inclination, quite honestly, to try and figure out how this stuff works. They just want to go in, use the system, and get out of there.
Absolutely. And all of these have security capabilities. Again, these are IoT-based devices. And so we want to make sure you're protected when you install these devices, because they're basically 24/7. They're almost as mission critical as server devices. You want your conference rooms always to be available. So we've built technology into each of our devices that secures them from any kind of BIOS attacks or malware attacks, where we have what we call our HP Sure Start that can help you protect from any kind of intrusions that way, because these are IoT devices. Likewise, these devices are Win 10 devices, so they can be managed by your existing management tools, and your ITSM systems can be integrated as well. So here's just a quick snapshot of some of the most popular configurations when we're working with customers like you here on this webinar. Here's the typical configurations that we see. And you can see how we integrate with different cameras depending on the room size and the room dynamics. For instance, we have a camera, it's called the Jabra Panicast camera, that's designed for rooms where people are sitting right up at the front of the room, right next to the display. We even have a camera that can support seeing people way out on the edges of your room. And then likewise, in your medium-sized rooms, you have the ability to have cameras that can auto-frame and be able to see dynamically who's speaking, so the people at the other end have a much more engaging and a more immersive experience. We have solutions where you can integrate with like the Logitech Meetup or the Polycom Studio device. These devices have built-in camera, microphones, and speakers. You attach it to our Audio Ready device, and instantly you have a full conferencing solution ready to go for your small rooms, for instance. And then also we have services that go along with this. We have an implementation service to assist you. We even have a collaboration partner network to provide references to our partners that have been pre-certified on our Slice devices and on the call control platforms like Teams and Zoom to assist you and help you with your deployment and help manage your deployment as well. So in fact, I'd like to bring up the next poll, if possible. Thank you. Just want to get a quick status of where you're at with being able to equip your rooms. Are you getting ready for this anticipated surge that we're seeing and being able to connect rooms with remote workers? And we're starting to get that poll results in, and I'll just keep going here. So bottom line, our systems, quite frankly, are quite manageable. Again, it's a Win 10 PC, so it can be used with your existing management tools. We also offer certain management tools ourselves, like our Manageability Integration Kit. We have a service called Device as a Service and our proactive management capabilities. So we even have an agent we run on these devices that can help monitor and track the usage of these devices, track the capabilities of the device, and make sure we can proact if we sense that a hard disk is going to fail or there's certain hardware elements that are going to fail with this unit. And we can give you those statistics and leverage those so you can proactively manage and proactively maintain your systems. In fact, we even offer a service, an extended service, a more premium service, where we'll do that on behalf of you so you can concentrate on other priorities within your IT organization. And again, these systems are highly secure and they're super easy to deploy. You provision it with a license, you configure it, and integrate it into your management tools, and you've got yourself up and running right away. So why don't we transition a bit to systems about and what HP's offerings are at the home. And I'll turn it back over to you, Kirk.
Hey, thanks, Martin. Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Lewis. Appreciate it. Yeah, and again, I love the connection, Martin. And I think it's important in regards to, working from home, right, and remote workers and the type of the experience that they have, but also that experience is really predicated upon what's going to be the collaboration room experience in the office as well. So it's not about addressing either or, it's addressing both of those. And again, you can see here, I mean, some of the insights we've gotten is that there's absolutely something, it's real, right? It's called conference call fatigue, right? And that's not necessarily just being on calls for, all day long, but it's really, counting on technology, to deliver an experience that the users absolutely appreciate. So they do feel connected, wherever they're at, whether they're working from home or they're working, from the office, but they absolutely feel connected, and that really relieves this fatigue. And technology should really work for us. Working from home again. How do I balance responsibilities? My kids are working at home. My spouse is working from home, right? We're all sharing the same Wi-Fi. How do I balance all those responsibilities, and bring those together? So, and that's difficult to do. And I can tell you, work well solutions or the mental and the physical health of employees is becoming even an IT issue that's being dealt with as well. So, and so when you start working from home, it's like we don't want to, leave the webinar without giving you a few solutions or build on those on top of that, what Martin and Lewis presented. So if you go to the next slide, we just recently launched our new EliteBook G7s. And one of the things I wanted to mention, it's not on the slide here, but it was brought up earlier, was around sanitization. And it's so important, even for an individual user that has their own device, that they want to be able to sanitize it. So what you're seeing here, this EliteBook G7, literally, we have issued a white paper that outlines all the different over-the-counter, household wipes that you can use up to 1,000 times over the life cycle of the device, and it won't damage the keyboard, it won't damage the materials, it doesn't brush. So again, we have materials and even a Duracoat that is actually on the keys that you can clean those, again, once a day using household wipes, the screen as well. You can do that on our EliteBooks, you can do that on our Elite Desk, you can do it on our desk side products, the mice, the keyboards, and even our displays, and be able to clean them. Super important. But also you think about AI-based recognition. What does AI-based noise reduction mean, right? So what it means is it actually can determine that was a dog barking, right? That is a lawnmower, right? It absolutely understands these noises that shouldn't be part of your conversation. And so it absolutely drowns those out automatically for you. Isn't that great? Okay. So what about the cameras? So again, these wide angle cameras have become very important. So not just how much do we get in the screen, but how wide, is the camera. So again, something also to think about. Better low lit and also backlit. So again, thinking about, whether you're face forward and how does it actually shine up. Again, we look at that in our cameras as well. Be seen when you want to, not when you don't. So we have a solution in our Elite products in the G7s, right? So in our 800 series, it's a privacy shutter. And our new 1000 series is called Sure Shutter. Literally, you press a key on the keyboard and mechanically it opens and closes your webcam. Last thing is really pen technology, right? So we've seen a massive surge in pen utilization. Why is that? Well, we don't all have, whiteboards, at home. But what we do have is a fantastic Elite product that is a 360. It comes with a really rich pen, not a stylus, but a pen experience that actually understands that it's a pen. And again, you can literally whiteboard on your EliteBook G7. So again, that's an experience you have at home, right, as a remote user that really enriches the experience that you would have as you collaborate with folks that are in other work from home locations or even at the office. And if you go to the next slide, it's like, I don't want to leave out desktops, right? So, and can I tell you, desktops can be as powerful or even sometimes more powerful as a work from home solution. So again, call centers, support desk, inside sales, again, fantastic, solutions that are desktop based, desk side based that you can actually utilize at home. This is an all-in-one solution. And again, for this all-in-one solution, it's really all-in-one G6 with Zoom rooms. So perfect for those locations like Martin, you indicated, was that like the focus spaces, right? Or those huddles,
yep.
Focus rooms. So again, great for that. And again, same thing. It's like, well, I can utilize this. It's Zoom ready. If you notice the little, the webcam at the top, right? So again, that webcam, again, you can pop it up and down. So again, same thing. If for some reason you do need to actually put it in privacy mode, you can actually, pop that web camera down. it's interesting, as you know, as I've seen, it used to be that, well, I don't want my display to have, you know, a microphone. I don't want it to have a speakers. It's exactly the opposite these days, right? So folks are looking for displays that they can utilize from a work from home perspective that have microphones, that have speakers and webcams built into them. And it's the exact same thing for collaboration, these focus rooms inside the office, where again, all of that is absolutely included. And again, it's a one-touch start. So very simple to utilize, like Lewis and I talked about earlier. So just to kind of wrap it up. So, you know, we introduced this concept, what is the new norm? We provided you a lot of insights on what users are experiencing as they work from home. And again, what are the experiences that they're looking for when they go back to the office? Martin and Lewis articulated, again, you know, a persona-based approach to your conferencing rooms inside the office, and the experience that can actually be delivered, and the overall thought out solutions. So, you know, helping people, you know, again, this is what we do, helping you adapt, getting connected, absolutely being productive, helping, you know, the billions of kids that are now, you know, getting educated from home, helping them learn better, and be able to do that in a very secure way. So we absolutely want to continue the conversation. So folks like Martin and Lewis and others, definitely contact your HP rep for a free conferencing and collaboration assessment with one of these and other collaboration subject matter experts. And so having that, we have a wrap on this part of the session, but let's take one more poll. And so here's the poll now, right? It's like, do you believe your employees would benefit from an HP work from home bundled offering that was targeted at their personal work from home needs, right? And again, when I say work from home solution, it's not just, you know, the device or the display or the accessory. It's also, how about this? How about somebody literally rings your doorbell and says, oh, by the way, I think you're about to have a service event on your hard drive or a service event on your motherboard. Literally, that's where we're headed to. So that's something that we're going to start rolling out here in the coming months. So, but again, something to look forward to. So again, it all knits together: security, services, displays, accessory, the whole ecosystem. Oh, by the way, one number to call. All right. So having said that, why don't we just, we'll wrap up this portion of the presentation, and we'll move over into a little bit of Q&A. So, you know, so I think we're going to turn it back over to Abby and the team, and they're going to open up the call for questions and answering.
Thank you, Kirk. If you have a question, please put it in the Q&A chat box, and our panelists will be able to answer. I believe there was one question in the poll, I believe, or in the Q&A that may have already been answered. But if you do have any questions, please go ahead and put those in.
And maybe we'll repeat that one for the audience, right? As they said, we had one said, love the concept. Can the slice register to both Teams and Zoom at the same time, or is it only capable of registering with one system? And Lewis?
Yeah, I answered that in the chat as well. But so there are specific licenses that are required from both Microsoft Teams and Zoom to make these devices work. So they do have to be registered to one or the other. There are actually two different SKU families from HP's ordering capabilities. The thing that I will say is that most, both Microsoft and Zoom are directly committed to working together. So there's already ways for both of those environments to work together. And
I got another question. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add on to that. Microsoft is right now in private preview doing a feature that they demoed back in November of last year. It's called Direct Guest Join. So soon, from a Microsoft Teams room system and a Slice G2 equipped with the Microsoft Teams room software, you'll be able to join a WebEx scheduled meeting and or a Zoom scheduled meeting. So now you can do a Skype for Business, Teams, WebEx, or Zoom. You'll be able to join those meetings from the same system. And these agreements that Microsoft has done, in this case with Cisco and Zoom, they're reciprocal. So you should be seeing similar announcements from Zoom as well.
Yeah, Zoomtopia had an announcement late last year that committed to that reciprocal agreement with Microsoft. There are apps already built into the Zoom environment that allow you to download bots and plugins for Teams. And so you can launch a Teams call from your Zoom's plugin, and the same thing for Zoom Rooms. And then there are both Microsoft and Zoom both have interoperability solutions for WebEx and even traditional video conferencing environments. So if you got older video environments and you're moving to a cloud, there are definitely ways for us to help you kind of do that cloud path migration so that nobody's left behind.
And I just noticed a question here. I think this was pre-submitted. Does HP offer any programs for our organization to equip and support home workers? Maybe Kirk, you want to take a crack at that one?
So say that one again for me, Martin.
Yeah. Does HP offer any programs for our organization to equip and support home workers, our home workers?
Oh, absolutely, right. And I think that was a question we answered in the, well, it was asked in the poll, right?
Oh, got it.
But everybody was answering, so maybe that drew some of the interest out. But absolutely, in fact, I can't announce it today, but over the next 3 weeks, there will be a larger announcement about us doing exactly that, which is creating these very curated, persona-based solutions that address all of the security, services, support, displays, accessories, the complete ecosystem, that we will be able to put that together for you, again, very curated, that address exactly what a work from home user would need. And so again, we have a lot of different things that are a la carte, of course, like I talked about the displays with the built-in speakers and the privacy webcam built in them and the microphones. Again, those have gotten really popular, as well as our new display docks as well. So again, being able to use one cable that comes from your the docking display that powers your notebook or powers your desktop. Again, it could absolutely power your desktop as well. And again, very clean, very space-saving solution as well that gives you audio, video, and great overall productivity. So a lot of a la carte solutions today, but look for us in the next 3 weeks to do a much larger announcement that's really focused on a lot of innovative, not just hardware, but also service and support and security solutions for this growing work from home workforce.
I see another question came in here. What are some ways to keep employees engaged while working remotely, both personally and professionally? And what has HP done, for example? I know internally, what we've done internally is just recently we all got an email here at HP that we could expense for either an office chair, a new office chair, or a larger display. So that's one motivation that the company, our own company, has done to make sure that basically the care that the company's taking for us as employees in dealing with having to work from home for such a long stretch of time. I know other things that have been done is management and management teams are scheduling, and it's a great idea to schedule short, regular video calls. Start a Zoom meeting, start a Teams meeting with your team, and make it fun. Just check in with your people, make it a short 15-minute meeting, have a quick chat, make it a funny hat day or most creative background day, put up a trivia game, bring in a quick motivational speaker, just something to keep the camaraderie, keep the connection going with your employees. I know that's another key feature. Guys, do you have other ideas, other concepts?
I think that the making sure that you're on video is a big piece. Obviously, being a collab evangelist, it's part of my day-to-day. But one of the things that I started to see around excitement for these types of services is when you see my daughter talking to her friends over Zoom, over Teams, and being able to work together, and just the excitement they get from seeing each other. First couple of days, it wasn't that big of a deal, but just seeing other people and engaging and collaborating is critical for the human health of mental health types services, and all those things that really kind of jump out at you that you don't really realize that we get from other people. It's really jumps when it's over video and you can see them and collaborate together.
I'd also like to add that on June 25th, HP's head of human resources and our CIO are going to be hosting a webinar just like this, talking about how HP has adapted to the new normal and how we've worked from an engagement with our people and engagement with their families and all of the topics we've talked about today. So please, if you have time in your schedules, please reach out to your HP account executives to make sure you receive an invite to how HP is adapting to the new normal.
Yeah, I would add one more is last year, I guess it's been just over a year now, HP acquired a company called Bromium, and we quickly rebranded a solution as part of the company called HP SureClick. And so within HP SureClick, it really does what I talked about earlier. It provides this kind of isolation opportunity. So again, you open it up, it isolates, whatever you would open up in your email browser, right? It would isolate PDFs, Word files, and so on. So it's a great isolation solution that really, prevents malware attacks, ransomware attacks. One of the things we did is we actually gave that away for utilization all the way until I think the end of September of this year. So again, as we saw a lot of folks as they went to work from home, what we ended up finding is that a lot of folks were doing social media on their corporate issue PC, or doing, opening up their personal email, and subsequently they were opening themselves and the company up to, malware attacks. So one of the things that we did is we rolled out SureClick. And again, that's an opportunity we gave to all of our customers, by the way, not just HP customers, whether they bought one of our competitors' products, whether it was consumer or commercial, HP SureClick Pro. So again, if you're interested in that, contact your account rep and we can absolutely send you to the web page to download that, no cost.
The Q&A session is complete. I'd like to turn it over to our executive host, Gene Kozub.
Well, Kirk, Martin, Lewis, thanks for spending time with us this afternoon and chatting about the new normal and the surge of collaboration between in-office and remote workers. Most of all, thank you to our customers for joining us today. Again, if you have any questions, if there's anything we can help with, or if you'd like to participate in a conferencing and collaboration assessment with one of our collaboration subject matter experts, please don't hesitate to reach out to your HP account executive. We're absolutely here to help you and your organization. Please complete the survey. Thank you for joining us and have a fantastic week.